Chapter 3. Getting to Know You. Suzanne lived in an old apartment complex in Winter Park. Despite the peeling paint on the shutters and the broken concrete in the parking lot, the complex was pretty decent looking compared to some others in the area. It had a swimming pool as well as a small lake that gave it a peaceful look. A family of ducks floated lazily away from the shore, and a grove of trees stood to one side. It was a pretty picture. When Suzanne answered the door, I was captivated all over again. She was wearing pink denim capris and a white peasant blouse. Her golden hair was down and hung just past her shoulders in deep waves. The eye makeup was a little heavier, but the way she wore it made her green eyes stand out. "You look great," I told her. "Thanks, so do you." I grinned. Jeans and ribbed t-shirts or Oxfords were my standard dress. "Thank you." "Would you like to come in for a minute?" "Sure." When I stepped through the door, the soft scent of sandalwood gently touched my senses. While she went to grab her purse, I took a quick minute to scan the room. There was an incense burning in a wooden holder on the entertainment center. The modest but comfortable-looking living room was furnished with an old floral couch and chair. The crocheted afghan was draped across the back. An ivory lace runner lay across the chipped wood coffee table. There were a few faded floral prints on the walls, and sitting on a glass shelf was a framed 8x10 photo of Suzanne and an attractive, dark-skinned woman with short braids framing her face. Her face and arms were a little too thin, but that didn't detract from her looks. In the woman's arms was a small child, maybe 3 or 4 years old. The little girl had a lighter complexion and wide storm gray eyes. Shiny black ringlets hung down to her shoulders. She was beautiful, and I could only imagine how much more beautiful she would be when she was older. Suzanne approached. "That's my roommate, Lila, and her little girl, Ekaterina. We call her Katya." "How long have you been roommates?" "Since we graduated from high school, but we've been friends since junior high." She tenderly brushed a finger across the glass. "Lila met this Russian guy right after we moved in together. A week later, he raped her and took off." "That is terrible." I grimaced, swallowing hard. The thought of any woman being attacked or abused in any way literally made me sick. "Did they ever catch him?" "No, and the next month she found out she was pregnant with Katya. The whole ordeal messed her up a bit emotionally, but she loved her child from the moment she found out she was pregnant." I studied the photo again. I guess she was wise enough to understand that it was not Katya's fault. She sounds like a very strong woman. It must be hard for her to be a single mother. Suzanne was thoughtful for a moment, her eyes slightly sad. "She's making it. She wanted to meet you, but she had to leave this morning and will be gone until Monday." "Well, I look forward to meeting her when she gets back." I smiled, attempting to shake off the gloom. "Are you ready?" "I am." She took her keys from her purse and locked the door. Even though Suzanne was born and raised in Orlando, she'd never been to SeaWorld, so I took her there, and we had a fun-filled afternoon. We played our own game of 20 questions and learned much about each other. We walked through the shark tunnel, my favorite exhibit since I was a teenager. "Favorite book and why?" I prompted her. "The Color Purple," because of the strength and courage of the heroine. Despite all the abuse Celie went through, she proved that we can overcome anything. "What about you?" "The Hiding Place," for the same reasons. Corrie ten Boom was a righteous and brave woman and an amazingly selfish person. "Now, favorite food?" "Italian." She giggled at my wide-eyed expression. What a coincidence. Italian is my favorite too. Favorite movie? She asked. Anything with Bruce Lee. The karate film star? Yes, and actually, it's not just karate. He was the master of Jeet Kune Do. What's that? Well, it is a martial arts system that encompasses physical, scientific, mental, social, and spiritual knowledge. It's an eclectic system, completely different from all the other forms of martial arts. What do you mean? Really, it's about using minimal movements and extreme speed to gain maximum effects. It's basically a set of tools that you use for different situations. Bruce Lee said that the perfect style was no style, and you can use something from everything. You use whatever works and you throw everything else away. He didn't like formalistic fighting. It makes sense. Sounds like you're really into it. I've been practicing JKD since I was 17. Wow, I feel safe now. I grinned. I'm glad. And I really was. What is your favorite movie? Gone with the Wind. My mother loved that movie too. Even though Scarlett drove her insane, she still felt sorry for her. Me too. But I mainly watch it for Rhett Butler. Ah, I love him, despite the rumors of halitosis. I snorted. I guess with his looks, most women would overlook that problem. And I would think getting paid thousands of dollars to kiss him on screen was a major incentive. You're probably right, she said, laughing. I loved Suzanne's laugh. She was so bubbly and so full of life, and having her open up to me warmed my heart. So far, it had been the perfect day. That evening, we went out to dinner, and of course, Suzanne chose Italian. After the hostess seated us, our server took our drink order. I ordered sparkling water, Suzanne a glass of red wine. I was never a drinker. Alcohol had never interested me because I saw its effect on some people. But it didn't bother me that Suzanne indulged. Thank you again for today, she said. It's been a lot of fun. You're very welcome. I don't think I've ever had a more enjoyable day. She smiled. I feel the same. Suzanne excused herself to go to the restroom. I watched her walk away, the gentle swaying of her hips attracting the eyes of many as she passed. She had that effect on men all day. Throughout the afternoon, I had found myself silently asking, "Is she the one, Papa?" Then I would chastise myself for allowing my thoughts to move ahead so quickly, one step at a time. This whole dating thing was fairly new to me. In high school, I'd only dated a few times, one of them resulting in me crossing into the forbidden territory of sexual intimacy. I had been so distraught over committing an act that should have been saved for marriage that I refrained from dating after that. Sure, the girl had been beyond forward and had practically begged me to cross that line, but it had been my choice to give in, and sex was not a thing to be taken lightly. My thoughts again drifted to the tearful conversation I shared with my father when I got home that night and confessed what I had done. This was not a simple choice you made tonight, son. I know, Papa, I said, wiping my eyes, my heart heavy with sorrow. What I had done could not be undone. What I'd given away could never be taken back. I'm so sorry. I know, son. He was silent for a moment, then his wise eyes met mine. Did you use protection? I nodded, embarrassed by this part of the discussion. She's on birth control, and she also had protection in her purse. I shook my head, pondering that fact. I guess that should have given me a clue. Looks like she was used to nights like this. It looks like it, he agreed. I'm sorry, I said again. Papa pulled me from my chair into his comforting embrace. It was a mistake, he whispered, one that you will never make again. I promised him that night that I would never weaken that way again, and I intended to keep that promise. Suzanne came back at the same time the server arrived with our drinks. I ordered our food and talked while we waited for the salad and appetizers. We started the questions again while we ate. "What is your favorite holiday?" I asked. "Thanksgiving. And yours?" "Christmas." "Favorite colors?" she asked. "I have two, gray and green. I love gray wool sweaters and the color of spruce trees, which I guess goes back to Christmas. And yours?" "Red. I love red." "Favorite type of music?" "Pop and hip hop." "Yours?" "Blues and jazz." "You seem like a blues kind of guy." "Really?" "Really." When our meals arrived, I ordered another sparkling water, and Suzanne had another glass of wine. We ate our food, declining dessert afterward. Suzanne declared she was full, though she'd hardly touched her meal. I figured she was probably not a big eater. I asked her if she would like anything else, and she said she was fine. The server boxed up her leftover food. I paid the check, and we left. "I had an amazing time," she said as I walked her to the door. "So did I. Thank you for spending the day with me." "Thanks for asking me." Her smile was shy again, her eyes luminous in the soft light of the street lamp. I wanted to kiss her, but with it being our first date, I was afraid she might think me too forward. She solved that dilemma when she leaned in and lightly pressed her lips to mine. They were soft and tasted faintly of the wine she'd finished before leaving the restaurant. I drew her into my arms, deepening the kiss as warmth filled my insides. It felt so good to hold her. Parting my lips from hers, I asked, "When can I see you again?" "My evenings are free for the rest of the summer." "Tomorrow night, then?" "Sounds good." I kissed her again and reluctantly said good night.